Hey you geeks! Only one episode to dissect this week. I'm totally fine with this since now I can give the Dragon Reborn the thorough breakdown and review it deserves, as we try to discover the identity of the Dragon Reborn.
Who could it be? This animal who I did see.
The majority of this video will not contain book spoilers, but all aired content available from Amazon is fair game. Without further ado, let's break down episode 4. As an adaptation, its characters, world building, magic system, and plot. One last thing, if you like geeking out over fantasy, please like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Thank you! Multi-level adaptation. Breaking with tradition, I'll talk adaptation first, since this is going to radically change how I view show spoilers and hopefully how you watch the show. For this is not just a show for Amazon, it's
A sequential image stereophonic multimedia event?
For example, Amazon visually conveys that Gildan is a total dumpster fire, while in the trivia bar, it mentions little world-building details. Amazon also updates the Explore tab in the show's page to give greater details and context as each episode drops. We get the maps of where everyone is, an explanation of the Dragon's Fang, and other fun things. Now, I would be upset if for major plot points this is all we get, but looking at gentling, the term was first explained in the trivia bar, then verbally explained in the show.
They gentled him. Cut him off from the one power forever.
And lastly, visually explained.
And take back that which nature itself does not wish you to hold.
If you haven't read the books, or if you, as a book reader, are struggling to explain what's going on without spoilers, check out Amazon's special features. They seem dedicated to being their own encyclopedia, and we fans might as well use it. Characters ranked again by preference. Lan wins this episode first and foremost because he got Moraine drunk.
You always get emotional when I drink.
It's fun to see their bond expressed in new ways. Lan didn't make the cut last time because he had all the personality of a very deadly rock. Though we saw glimpses of his determination to keep the group, then Moraine alive, he was really just doing his best to follow Moraine's plans. Here, we see something new.
You're not exactly what I thought you were. A Lan Mondragoran.
Here, he does things outside of Moraine's control. We see him honor Melchior and flirt with Nynaeve.
Well, you are exactly what I thought you were. Wisdom, Almira.
I highly doubt that Moraine had an opinion on all that, but in the end, it was Lan and Nynaeve's blossoming relationship that saved them all, and I'm just eating it up. Nynaeve. I appreciated the almost fourth wall break as Leandrin struggled to say Nynaeve's name.
It's Nynaeve, isn't it?
And Nynaeve reacting with all the brusqueness we'd expect from her.
I'm imagining you came over here because you want something.
Her arc seems to be about her taking the first steps as an Aes Sedai. First learning what it means to truly be one, and then her first embrace of the one power. Egwene's first weave came out as a trickle, and we've been told she's very powerful. Nynaeve's first weave was an explosion. Some say the glow is part of the weave. Some say it's her Targaryen-ness shining through. But we all know.
The glow is the combination of all your past lives.
And that's all I have to say about that. Logain. He's probably not the Dragon Reborn, but dang!
There's a place for anyone
side. Even my enemies.
I'd follow him to the last battle, even if he was crazy. Matt. Ooh, he's so creepy. Barfing up the evil from Shadar Logoth. How has that not killed him yet? But he's oddly sweet, talking to little Elsa Grinwell about Birgitta, who, the show informs me, is a very real person.
Birgitta's always wanted to see the world.
I wanted Matt to keep that doll, but no, everyone dies and a Fade attacks. I don't think Matt killed those people since they seem to be killed with ordinary cuts, and Matt's knife is no ordinary knife. Though we haven't seen him use it yet, maybe it does cut like a normal blade.
I see you.
A normal blade that gives him the ability to see fades. So I don't think he's the Dragon Reborn, but no one knows what he is. Least of all, himself. Egwene. One thing that made me appreciate Egwene more in this episode is her giving Aram the cold shoulder.
Who is he? The man that holds your heart.
It's basically the one thing she does in this episode, besides validating Perrin's feelings. Both tidbits point to Egwene's deep care for her fellow villagers, especially Rand, for his own sake. If she were looking for just a boy toy, she could have had Aram, but she pines for Rand. Though I get the feeling that she'll never admit this to his face.
If I were her, I'd leave you behind too.
The show is giving me mixed messages about how I should feel about their relationship, and I gotta say, I don't ship them yet. Rand. Moving up in the rankings, though I'd say the clumping is much closer together this time, Rand alternates between oddly paranoid
What if he killed her to make us trust him?
and being the honest, good country lad I can appreciate.
I'm sorry. We haven't been honest with you. We were going to rest in your barn, just for the night.
I'm more willing to put up with his temper when I see him trying to be a good friend and a decent human being.
No matter what happens, I'm here.
If the show can keep me believing that Rand believes he's trying to help his friends, I'll put up with a lot of shenaniganery. I just hope they keep the balance right. Perrin. I wouldn't say that I like Perrin less than I did last week, it's just that I now like others more than I liked Perrin last week. He keeps to his quiet and sulky self. I interpret the turmoil inside him is what feels threatened by the Tinker's peace.
Look, I don't trust these people.
The Tinkers pose a real obstacle for him, finding the pain in his past and twisting it to make their point.
Has your life been better or worse since you picked up that axe?
Of course, Ayla's resolve to the Way of the Leaf comes from her pain too.
What greater revenge against violence than peace? What greater revenge against death than life?
So I don't fault her maneuver or Perrin's sullen response. It's just that he hasn't come to a decision yet. What decision Perrin makes will give us the true measure of his character. Lopin and I look forward to that, but we aren't there yet. Traveling people. The Tuatha'an are a great mix of hippie, Roma, aka Gypsy, and Amish? At least with their year-off thing.
We leave the wagons when we turn 20. To live in the world for a while, see if what we were born into is what we would choose.
Though, now that I think about it, Amish are a functioning pacifist society in modern times. So they are a great example of what the Tuatha'an are trying to achieve with their Way of the Leaf.
We forswear violence and all instruments of it.
Though the Amish would never abide those colors.
And my homies agree, I really look good in black, fool.
From wagons to clothes, you can see the vibrancy of Tinker life woven into everything they do. Except for Aram's drug rug. That looks oddly dingy, though Aram is oddly dingy for a tinker.
As I heard every time I lost a toy when I was a child. I'm still waiting.
I love their devotion to finding the song. We got hints of this last episode.
Do you know the song?
Do you know the song?
And a fuller explanation of the song this time around.
In the last age, our people supposedly knew a song that brought harmony to the world.
It's encouraging to see the show tease things, then expand on them. Gives me hope that if you notice something interesting now, we'll learn even more later. However, I already know the song. Saidin, the much-feared male half of the One Power. There seems to be multiple versions of why the men go mad. We have Leandrin's explanation from episode 1.
And when you touch it, you make it filthy.
And we have Tom's explanation here.
How at the end of the last age, the Dark One corrupted the One Power. So men couldn't use it without going mad.
On the one hand, what would a simple gleeman know of magic? On the other, how many dark friends has Leandrin taken down? Or Fade's fought? She may view gentling men as her contribution to society.
We protect the world from people who would misuse the One Power. Even other Aes Sedai.
But she seems to have lost sight of the larger White Tower goal.
The law applies to us just as much as it does to him. And you, a Red, should be the one reminding me of that, not the other way around.
She completely ignores that Logain, despite being stark raving mad, made peace with the King of Gildan because Logain wants to save the world.
They forget the dragon is just as likely to save the world as break it.
Instead, she just heard that he can channel Saidin and came out weaves blazing.
A plan after your own heart. We crept into his camp and shielded him as he slept.
Politics. This sort of doubles as my prediction for episode 6, where it is said Moraine will face the consequences of her actions. Now, they tease Moraine has a lot to answer for already.
Not any fonder of Moraine, though. I heard her threatened to fetch you too home.
But I ask you, what else has she done that would require Leandrin and Alana's ample bosom to stand trial as well? Therefore, I've kicked her off the likable characters list for this episode. She seems to be playing a game of 3D chess with the other Aes Sedai over Logain, through which she gets Karini killed. A fine way to repay the woman who saved her life.
That's Moraine for you. Selfless to a fault.
The show spent a lot of time on Aes Sedai, their warders, and their politics. But something tells me that we're going to have a lot of time to delve into that. So let's focus on the players at hand. First, we know Leandrin wants to gentle Logain, because she's a Red, and that's what Reds do. She's spoken to everyone and got them on board, except for Karini and maybe Alana. Alana, it seems, does want to gentle Logain.
False or no, his strength is more than anything I've ever seen.
But she is concerned about gentling him if he is the Dragon Reborn.
I know the last one broke this world and we can't let that happen again. But what if the dragon is supposed to be there with us, but we've let the Reds gentle him?
However, she's willing to go along with Moraine if Moraine decides he is not.
I'm glad we'll have your strength on our side.
That leaves Karine, who was against it. Yet Moraine, Alana, and Leandrin knew Karine had set wards.
What is it?
My wards.
Then Logain used her wards as an opportunity to escape. How? They said he couldn't hear them, Maybe he saw the light emitted from her weaves, if not the weaves themselves. I'm going with the theory that Logain could have broken out of the shields at any time, as he did not struggle.
Look at him. Not a bead of sweat on his brow, not a tremor in his lip while we're almost ragged.
He was just waiting.
To lift the curse until the opportune moment.
As was Moraine. She was just standing outside as he broke free and walked in to measure his power once he was done. How did she know to be there? And why did Lan decide that that morning was the time he needed to pray?
You pray often.
When I need to.
He doesn't seem like a Matins or Fajra or whatever Buddhists call morning prayer kind of guy. Instead, he prays just before Moraine's plan to weigh and measure the false dragon goes into effect, and she finds him wanting.
It's a pinprick of candlelight against the raging sun that will be the Dragon Reborn.
Thus, Alana enters the circle. Seeing Moraine is already in it, she joins. Then Liandrin finally gets her wish. Adaptation to the dragon. Book spoilers through book 6, so if you haven't read that far...
So long, farewell, our readers say adieu.
This episode is clearly a dress rehearsal for Dumai's Wells, a showing of what's supposed to happen when Aes Sedai capture an alleged dragon and his followers try to rescue him. They fail. I've heard some fans grumbling that the sisters should have formed a circle to shield Logain, and they probably should have, yet this is a mistake the Aes Sedai make in the books. In Dumai's Wells, Rand knew the number of knots which held his shield was directly proportionate to the number of sisters shielding him. If they were in a circle, it would have been one very big knot. Instead, it's 6 knots, 6 sisters, that drops down to 3 who still hold their shields before he can break out and still them all. So Rafe has laid excellent groundwork for Dumai's Wells, and we should appreciate it. I certainly did. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you would like to see more. Your patronage is greatly appreciated.